Welcome to a Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and I'm continuing my breakout stories from the April-May 2012 issue of Asimov's Science Fiction. So this turned out to be another really good issue of Asimov's. If you remember the June 2004 issue that I recently covered, had 3 Nebula Award finalists in that one issue, and some very good stories. This one didn't have any award finalists, but it did have a lot of really excellent fiction, including a story by one of the well-known classic science fiction writers, Carol Emshwiller. The story in this issue of Asimov's, titled Riding Red Ted and Breathing Fire, was her next to last published story before she died. It's only a short story, and Carol Emshwiller was born April 12th, 1921, and died February 2nd, 2019, so just shy of 100 years. She was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan. She was married to Ed Emshwiller, the very famous science fiction illustrator who did lots and lots of excellent illustrations for the covers of Galaxy and Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction and all the other science fiction magazines of the 1950s and 1960s. I think he did If as well. Now, Carol Emshwiller was the writer of the two, and she published a lot of short stories and 6 novels. Her first short story was published in November of 1954. And on this channel, I have already previously reviewed her story, The Circular Library of Stones, which I gave a top tale status to. Really excellent story, and which prompted me to want to do a deep dive reading everything I can get my hands on by Carol Emshwiller. I'm still working on getting started, with her very first story and going in publishing order. But I came across this because of the other project I have, which led me to this issue of Asimov's, and she happens to be in there. So I'm doing this story way out of publication order. So what is it about? In this story, you have a soldier and his mount, and the mount is called a Hythric, which actually is a dragon. This seems to take place on some other world, though we don't know what. And these dragons, in order for the soldiers to ride them, they have to clip their wings, so the dragons can't fly, but they can breathe fire. Well, the soldier and his Hythric go to a city with the intention of escorting a woman who has been promised in marriage to the king of the city the soldier is from. So he's there. He's supposed to get this woman and take her back. But he gets there and he finds this woman is not very good looking, where all the other women in the city are stunningly beautiful. And he's like, what are you doing, giving us your ugliest woman for our king? And this soldier, kind of a knight, he is kind of a cocky asshole, okay? Which makes him a really interesting character. So he questions the woman's fitness, and all the women attack him and tie him up. And then they tell him they want him and the dragon to stay and stop what's called the tith. I'm not familiar with that word. Maybe women being promised in marriage like things to kings is a tith. But they want him to put a stop with it. Won't tell you any more about it. It's a very good story. I wouldn't call this one a top tale. I thought The Circular Library of Stones was far superior to this one, but it's still a good story, and I still recommend it. I think it's worth looking up if you get, well, and it's in some of Carol Emshwiller's collection, more recent collections before her death. So I would look those books up if you can't get a hold of this issue of Asimov's. Get a hold of those books. You'll have this story and a lot of other great stories if you can find a fairly recent collection of Carol Emshwiller stories. So that wraps up my coverage of the April-May 2012 issue of Asimov's Science Fiction. I hope you've enjoyed these. I hope you've learned of some interesting stories that you might want to check out for yourself. These are worth reading, and I try not to spoil them so that you can go and discover them for yourself and discover why I think it's worth me sitting here talking about. I'm going to be doing a lot more of this, a lot of other issues of Asimov's, a lot of other authors that I'm talking about. I got tons of stuff on my schedule. I'm going through a complete read of all of Stephen King's stories, everything I can get my hands on. And you're not going to see very many Stephen King stories through the summer because I'm spending the summer reading The Stand. And it's a huge book. It's going to take me more than a month to get through that one. And so no new Stephen King stories until I get there. Anyway, I hope you'll come back and watch us again. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button so that you'll see us. And I hope you'll be seeing me.